minutes late, and I started at 15 minutes and a half late. So maybe it won't work. We might have to go to another. Hey, we are here. We got Titi in Abuja. Hey. Abuja. Oh. And Jessica over in Canada. And one of our fans said to me, "Oh, you're interviewing Titi? You have a match for your energy." How do you like that, lady?
That's interesting, right? Your energy is more than mine. Trust me. When I met you, I was like, my God, is there someone that has energy more than me? That's Jessica. I'm crowning you the queen of energy.
The queen
Oh
of
my
energy.
God, you're a bundle of it.
Well, people ask me sometimes, where do you get that energy from? And I'm like, it's obvious, donuts. So I have no explanation except for
Oh my
genetic or
God.
karma. And you, where'd you get your soul from, woman? Where'd you get this energy from?
Well, my energy, not donuts. I don't eat donuts so much. But
Good for
I
you.
think people give me, when I see people, well, I'm energized. Having to make friendships energize me. The possibilities of doing something new and different with people, I think that's energizing enough. And then, of course, a positive outlook to life
Mm.
generally just gives me energy. So, not exactly what I eat, although maybe if I eat pounded yam, I could have a lot of energy though.
I ate that at your gala dinner. That is healthy. That is
Oh,
healthy. But
yes, it is.
the diet,
Yes, it is pounded yam.
this is interesting. I just talked to a shaman, so someone about talking about cleansing your diet. And when I was in Nigeria
Mm.
2 months ago now, the food that I ate with you guys was so healthy, no dairy in it, hardly any gluten in it, just mostly vegetables, chicken, and rice. And I wonder if the the energy, the eyes lit up, the teeth, the dancing, that if that's, do you think that's really related to diet, or is that the mentality of Nigerians that's been going on for generations? What is so special about Nigeria? I know it's a huge question, but
I wonder. I I think we get our groove from some of the challenges we've been through. We're just a resilient kind of people that
mm,
says regardless, we'll still be happy. So we always find a way to make ourselves happy, regardless. We
mm,
all, sometimes we're in a situation where you expect so much. Oh my God, people just crack jokes and we just get around that. So I think it's also a coping mechanism for us to
mhm. Coping mechanism. I lost her. Now I'm guessing what she's saying. Commercial break. For the viewers out there, when I was in Abuja, there were these electricity outages, and they just kept talking and dancing and singing on stage. It's like it didn't phase them. We we'd collapse and cry and freak out and yell at our assistant. And that's why I wanted to interview Titi today, because she ran the conference. 650 West Africans were invited, bought tickets, and might have been showing up. And she just disappeared. And she managed that with cool and calm, and she's back.
Oh dear,
Hey,
network, internet. Oh Lord, help me today. Okay. So I was just saying that I think we get our energy from just our coping mechanism. There's all sort of things happening around there, truly. But, when we're crowned the happiest people on earth, I found that very interesting. And I wondered how come. But then also, the food we eat could also make us very strong and energetic. Truly, we do eat. Well, used to a lot of vegetables, but I think we do eat a lot of carbohydrates, calorie foods as well. Although the elites try to balance that, the elites know better and not to just always pack carbohydrates and all of that. So some of us try to balance it. Oh, you have to get some vegetables, some fruits, and all that.
mm,
But truly, I think our energy and our joy just comes from being able to overcome our
yeah,
challenges as a nation. That resilience comes through each time people say Nigerian, because we just try to figure it out. That despite that, we want to remain happy people. And so that energy just keeps coming through. And I'm really proud to be a Nigerian anyway.
Well, it's just such a great example. So the internet, the connection just died. We lost you for
Mm,
42 seconds, and you came back
yeah.
with a smile and a little joke and a laugh. You know,
Yes.
it's what else
Yes.
can you do? But while you were gone, I said, we wouldn't deal with that well. We'd come back with like a grumble, and maybe we'd complain about the network in Nigeria, and maybe we'd say, well, I pay for it every month. I'm going to call. Like, we, like white people from the West, there's so much entitlement, and I can feel
Mm,
the entitlement and the demandingness and the criticalness in my system, and I have to fight so hard to find the humor in things. And I wonder,
mm,
because I haven't had so many difficulties, because life in Canada is handed to you, to most of us, not all of us, but
mm.
most of us, we're taken care of very well. So we're zero resilient. When the internet goes down, it ruins my whole day. You
Oh
just
no.
do that if you live in Nigeria, right?
Oh yeah. Well, in fact, kind of. We're used to this. So you see, my house right now, I have three sources of internet. I
Oh,
have two routers. I have my phone hotspot, and I probably, if anything should happen, I'll pick up my phone. My son's phone is another provider, and
wow.
just put on the hotspot. So we're used to that anyway. We just found a way around these things. Although we also wish it could be better off. We also understand that infrastructure could be a challenge. So while you're trying to blame the providers, you also want to give them a benefit of the doubt to a certain extent and just try to walk around it. So we've tried to walk around these things as much as we can. I know where I live, network is not so good because I was out of Abuja for 2 weeks. I just came back and my network was perfect where I went to. Yes, I was in my parents' house about 11 hours drive from here. We went for, 2 weeks vacation. And my router worked so well, so well. I didn't have an issue. Then I come back home and then he's giving me this crap. I'm like, oh my God, should I go back to my parents' house so I could use good internet? But of course, I have to come back home.
Oh,
So you have to deal with that. So in some other locations in the city, yes, it could work really well because
hmm.
locations could matter, maybe because of the high rise. Where I
Hmm.
live, there's a lot of high rise buildings,
Oh,
and that could be shielding the network
hmm.
truly. So we try to just explain it that way sometimes.
So the first Nigerian I met, I was 19 and I was in university, and the most gorgeous man. This, well, you have to know something about Canada. In Toronto, there are people of different nationalities, but the rest of Canada is pretty much just Whiteville, right? And so I
Mm.
see this gorgeous black man, 6 foot tall, walking on campus, and I think, oh la la. And he's got 3 cell phones. And I'm just a small town white kid, and I'm like, why would he have 3 cell phones? None of us in Canada at age 18 even had a cell phone. And this guy, so cool from Nigeria, had 3 cell phones. I thought he was a drug dealer. Who has three
Ah,
cell phones, right? And
we're used to that.
and when I went to Nigeria, everyone has 2 cell phones, 3 cell phones because of the
Yeah.
network. And that's how racist stereotypes are built, because we assume our culture is another culture. Look at you, you
Thank
little
you.
jerk.
Those are my two. And then I have a third one. This
Wow.
barely goes out. It's a very small phone. It's not a smartphone, but this
Yeah.
kind of phones really work when you go for some work in some remote community. You don't
Yeah.
want to carry your expensive phone.
No.
You take this kind of phone, you know? So if you even steal it, you've only stolen a few nairas. I won't care much.
Hey, you adapt. So I studied something called adaptability intelligence.
Mm,
Fancy name for how do you deal when shit hits the fan, as we say over here,
yeah.
right? And one of them, okay, so there's like 5 parts of it. One of the main factors to being able to adapt well is resilience and
Mm,
and
yes.
you can't teach resilience and grit with books,
No
right?
way.
You need to
No.
go through the shit
Oh,
and get
yes.
out the other side. So
That's it.
how do you think you could, I want to learn from you, how, with nobody really wants to go through shit. I don't want to like have 5 bad years though with my internet going down. I don't want to suffer just so I could be strong at the end. But how do you learn and raise strong children and strong members of a community without difficulty? Is there a
Hmm.
way that we can surpass that step?
That's a big question. Most times in life we learn through experience. It's experience that shapes us.
Hmm.
So there probably wouldn't be any other way to learn than going through it, as it were.
Hmm.
I've lived in America also for a few years when I was at Cornell, about 12 months stretch, and visiting America a few more times, twice with my family and the entire my kids. Sometimes we're returning back home and they're like, "Mom, why do we have to come back to Nigeria? Because everything just works, Mom. Why would you have to come back home where things are not working?"
Oh.
And they seem to hate me for that, but I'm like, yeah, home is home. We're going back home, okay? And then we can still keep doing our vacation. And then if of course I find myself in the US permanently for a job or something, definitely you keep coming with me, isn't it? But the thing is, we learn through experiences. As parents also, we try to raise our children to know that, see, life is not always like the way you want it all the time. So there may be some issues, some things may not work. Just build your capacity to accommodate some things, even when it's not working. When it's working, be grateful, maximize it. When it's not working, yeah, you can do other things. So my son now, if his phone is not with him or internet is not working, he gets so grumpy. And I'm like, you know what? This is a time to pick up a book and read or do some crossword puzzle. Excuse me? No, that's not a downtime. Use it for something else. Like I gave him a crossword puzzle yesterday and was really loving it. I said, "You see, aren't you enjoying the crossword puzzle?" He was.
Hmm.
So we try to let them know that those downtimes, yeah, you can also make good use of it. You could even sleep. You could just use that to just think about something you've not thought about in a long time. I also feel that FaceTime on computers, on laptops forever is not so good. Once in a while, those downtimes just helps you to look at other things. So
Hmm.
just try to let them know that their days things will be really so good. Yeah, enjoy it. A few times when it's not, make adjustments because it
Hmm.
might not. Sometimes those days will always come. Will always come, and letting them know that, well, this is it. This is what it is here. And if you don't learn to cope with it, you will just worry yourself to death. So,
Hmm.
like I said, we're happy people. Regardless, you just find your joy somewhere in there. You find happiness somewhere in there. So it is what
Wow.
it is.
I like the keyword for me, and that was like you find it because it's not
Oh, yes.
obvious. It's
Mm-mm.
a bad situation, and you have to look around for
Yes.
the crossword.
Yeah.
You have to look around for the positivity in it. And if you're
Absolutely.
lazy, like I think where I come from, we just don't want to look anymore because we expect it. And
Mm.
the Buddha, which isn't neither of our religions, but
Yeah.
the wisest thing that I've heard in all of my studies of religion is expectations is the main reason for unhappiness.
Yes.
You know, it's
Absolutely. You're
what it
right.
is what it is. And
Yes.
what can you do about it except for shift how you look at it? And
Mm.
so maybe the Nigerians, and you are the beautiful shining example of it for me, because at the conference we lost electricity. Yeah. And you guys
Yes.
kept going. At the conference, we were behind schedule a lot, and that didn't stop you from smiling. At the
No
conference,
way.
there was enough food for the people that were in the committee meeting. And people, I didn't hear people complaining. People here would have been on Google harassing you, complaining, asking for their money back.
It's it's quite interesting, right? We've spent for the conference, we've spent months planning, months.
Mm,
So I had even determined within myself that you could spend 10 months planning an event, and then when you decide to execute it, things are not exactly the way you've planned. Because now you are now in the motion, you are now in the conference. And so the situation, things may change suddenly because you're now in the activity. Okay, so you also need to give that gap there somewhere, that gap there, like that space for errors might happen. And if you've been so happy planning a conference, you don't want to spoil that joy and happiness because of one day or something shifting. So I told myself that nothing, and I meant it, it was a pledge to myself, that nothing ain't gonna move me. If the conference, if we begin, if in fact, if they tell me, "Oh, food is not sufficient here," I'll just turn away. I'm like, yeah, the guy's in charge knows what to do. Don't give me that. Don't give me the headache right now, you know. And I always noticed that, well, we always found a way to solve the problems at some
mm,
point. Of course, reports will come back and say, "Oh, food was not sufficient for lunch," and the next question for me will be, "Oh, what happened? Because we planned for this number. What happened? I wasn't sufficient." And gently just ask, not throwing shades at anybody or blaming anybody, because the blame game also now turns up the heat and everybody now gets upset somehow. So the best thing is to just calmly ask the question, oh, I thought we planned for 650. How come 300 ate and 300? And then I started getting the reasons. Oh, some people were inside. We divided the room into two because the French were inside. The English came to eat. And maybe I guess that maybe the people serving felt that was everybody because they just served lavishly, really. And they were like, there's another half inside the hall. Like, oh my, oh my, oh my.
Wow.
So the first time that happened, I was like, that's exactly is the reason why this wouldn't go wrong. So tomorrow, somebody needs to monitor this thing. Monitor. Let them know, you know what, the portions shouldn't increase. Nobody should come for a second ration. Just ensure that as we're serving, somebody is monitoring. And yeah, I guess from experience in conflicts, resolving problems, and always in conflicts, the first thing is to ask the right questions as to answer the questions, why. And when you get that, get to the root of the matter and try and see what you can do to solve it so it doesn't come back again. So that has helped me to keep in tune, not always losing my cool, honestly. And someone will say, you're not even upset. I say, why should I be upset? I'm not upset.
Well, that's another thing. You made a commitment to what I heard, you made a commitment to yourself that whatever goes wrong, you're not going to lose your cool and you're not going to lose your joy of creating this event for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a conversation with yourself, right?
Yeah.
I know when I'm getting upset and I can feel it. And my husband, he sees it boiling in me and he goes, what's wrong? And I'm like, before I even notice, he sees it happening in me. And then I have the opportunity to give it energy or to focus on something else. And too often I give it energy. And that's why I wanted to come to West Africa, because my whole life I've wanted to be a strong African woman, because I know I am resilient as crap and I need to learn that. And so I look to you and I look to your colleagues and I look forward to a long relationship where we can share ideas and and like help each other. Like if the different religions, if the different cultures, we like help each other, we all do so much better, but we always think we're right. And are we right? And it's just, and you guys, this is very fascinating. The tribal differences. This is something I wanted to ask you as well. Nigeria has so many different tribes as I've understood. And yet you guys aren't fighting as much as you would think, or I don't know. How do you deal with so many different opinions, colors, traditions, things, and not have war all the time? Is that something that you guys has shaped you into an adaptable culture?
Well, I believe that the diversity even gives Nigeria the color it has, because we're just so diverse. In my tribe alone, like I'm from the Yoruba tribe, there are 3 major tribes in Nigeria. So 3 major tribes, but then there are different ethnic groups. So we have the Yorubas, we have the Igbos and the Hausas. That's the major, but we have several ethnic groups in different colors and different parts of the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. So I'm Yoruba, and we're in the Southwest. Even Yoruba alone, if you see how many languages, oh my God. We have the general Yoruba that we all speak and we can hear ourselves. But the Yoruba that is spoken in my father's village is not the Yoruba I can speak. It's so different. The Yoruba they speak in my mother's village is not the one I can even hear when they speak it. So, oh my. So there are different flavors of Yoruba. Different ethnicities have their own flavors of Yorubas. And you notice that the major tribes just have decided to, over the years, history has it, that everyone just adopts a particular one that, this will become like a general Yoruba language. And so we can just speak this one. But when it comes to the dialects, it just gets more interesting, because you might never understand what the person is saying. I tell you.
You don't understand.
Yes. And I've had ethnic wars. Yes, there have been ethnic wars in the past. Yes. But I think the ethnic wars in Nigeria have been fueled more by, it's political most of the time. Usually it's political. Somebody just, I don't know, or sometimes somebody makes a statement and then it causes an uproar. I've had a situation in the Southwest where 2 communities, their neighboring communities, they had a terrible war. They burnt each other to the ground. I mean, it was bad. And they were just neighboring communities, I tell you. And it was, I don't know how it even started right now, but before you knew it, they had married, intermarried, and so many things. And oh my God, that was one war that we don't look forward to any longer, ever in the history of Nigeria. I say Nigerians are peace-loving people. Even when people want to fan the embers of war, you see there's a voice. We always have voices against it because history has told us that it never just works for anyone.
Mm.
You end up dying for nothing. That's just you just end up dying for nothing. And because of we're so into each other. Northerners have married Southerners. Yeah, Southern. Oh my God. You see a Yoruba man married an Igbo woman, an Igbo man married an Hausa. We're so into each other that if you start the ethnic war, we're all going to be too much suffering, truly, because
Oh.
where do we start from? Yorubas have set up businesses in Igbo land. Igbo land people have put businesses in the north. So where we now say we should pack our loads to where? Where are we going? Someone have been in the north for the last 60 years of his life. Where does he want to go to? So we usually try to stem any kind of ethnic wars because really it doesn't end up well for anyone. Even as we speak, there's someone on social media, I think recently, that was calling for something recently that would probably, if we allow it, would lead to an ethnic war. And everybody's condemning this person right now, including the president.
Oh, good.
And nobody should listen to such a person because really, we want to be happy. Nigeria is a diverse nation, and we've been built on that forever. The integration has been so much into each other that anything that will cause a war right now, it's really not going to be nice. It's not going to be good. And we have stories to tell concerning this. Is it Rwanda, the Houthi and all of that? We have stories to tell. And nobody wants to end up that way. Yeah. So we're so into each other, truly. The synergies, the partnerships we've built across tribes. We try not to. And anyone that wants to fan such embers, we condemn it. We always condemn it in very strong terms. Except the foolish ones that still put their necks into such things.
I love this. We're so into each other. What a beautiful like nobody in Europe goes, oh, the Polish and us. We're just so into each other. Like doesn't exist those words, It's beautiful. It's nice. My friend Dr. Alda, she wrote in a little while ago and she says, zero expectation myth, but we can surely reduce it. She's from India. She's telling me zero expectations is a myth, but we can surely reduce our expectations. And that's the key to happiness. Yeah. For humans, zero expectations for sure. And so I think that's the beautiful thing. We would love that the internet works perfectly. And because that's not reality, we have 2 other phones and 2 other routers. So it's like managing the dreams and the hope and dealing with what comes your way without ruining your whole day. Yes. And then if every day is tough, your whole life, right? My he's half Nigerian, you know that now.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's half Catalan, which means he was born in Barcelona.
Okay.
And he has this Nigerian, I didn't know this until I went to Nigeria. He has this Nigerian spirit of he's always happy. It's so annoying. It's like I break down. I cry every 3 weeks when my ovulation starts and I'm like, all these emotions are coming up. And he was working in a factory, only sleeping 3 hours a day, had surgery on both his wrists, broke his ankle. His dog got cancer. It's like the saddest country song ever. And that man, now I know what it is. It's that Nigerian energy that's, for thousands of years through his father. He's Nigerian and he has that spirit. And that's why he's so attractive to me because he has what I don't have. And often we search for people to complete us, which is incorrect. And I didn't know what it was until I met you guys. And,
and then you saw it.
And I understood.
Quite raw.
Yeah. Now I know.
As we are.
Oh, you know.
Yes. But this, what's his name now? The person, Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Oh, yeah.
He was particular about focusing on your circle of control, the things you could control. So, and someone told me recently, like, looks like Titi, you have a good balance. I don't know what the person even saw. I guess I was just telling her about my trip or something. And then she's like, looks like you have a good balance between your work life. You have a work-life balance. And I was wondering, are you sure? I do a lot of work, but she feels that I also create time for leisure. And I said, yeah, I need to because I can't work so hard. And then I go to the gym, I do exercises. I like to go out. Even sometimes just go to the mall just for window shopping, enjoy the mall atmosphere. A few times my sons are around, I just tell them, guys, let's get in the car and just drive out. Just catching my cruise. If I need to, I catch it very well. Relax, come back, and even when I traveled home, I took everybody out, like my brothers, everybody, their kids, my cousins. I didn't even mind sponsoring a timeout. So I just asked my elder brother, is there a great place to go to here? We have about 26 in the team that went out. And
Wow.
I was willing to take care of everybody because it was like, yeah, good time to all come together, make all the nephews and nieces that haven't seen themselves. My kids have been away from Ibadan, Southwest for a long time. So they're happy seeing their cousins anyway. And then we had a boat cruise. I never knew I could do a boat
Mm.
cruise in that town. I never knew there was a nice waterway right there. I was like,
Wow.
okay. We had fun. I danced and danced till I forgot my name. Like, there was a lady there. The lady was just looking at me. Then at some point, he had to say something. He said, Madam, you have so much energy. Your energy is so much. I looked at him like, yeah, I love dance. That's why I'm dancing so much. She was just looking at me like, can there be someone that be dancing? She's been dancing since she got here. And truly, I was just dancing. I don't know.
Mm.
Dancing seriously, not I was just like, as any music comes,
Dancing
I'm just
seriously.
dancing. I'm just dancing. I'm just so she was just like, wow. So I told her, well, I love dance, and people that know me know I dance, and I love to dance. So I guess that's also something I enjoy. That's
Mm.
where my energy also comes from. Like I said, people, those times, I just love it. And I guess that dance is spontaneous too, because it's what I feel on my inside. That is like a celebration. Anytime I'm dancing, yeah. Both a
Mm.
celebration and sometimes some fitness, So it all comes together like some
Yeah.
aerobics, but then I'm
Yeah.
enjoying my dance.
Uh, we're gonna close up soon, and for me, I've always said like I just want to dance more, and I
Mm,
think that's what one of the biggest things I'm taking away from you. It's like
yes.
if I want to dance, I should go dance. It's like
Yeah.
work will always be there, but I won't always have my cousins with me. That river
Mm,
won't always be flowing beside me.
mm,
That
mm.
generosity that you have to take out 27
Yeah,
family members, like to enjoy that moment because you don't know the next. And so that
that's it.
it has to be in the moment. And if you want to dance in the moment, you must dance. And I think that must be the perception, that resilience that is
Mm,
very strong in you. So
yeah, yeah,
thank
absolutely.
you for living it, because we don't know who to inspire, right? You didn't plan
Yeah,
to inspire me. And so
yes.
huh?
But you're so bubbly and full of life. When you came to Nigeria, I was like, oh my God, she's a foreigner, first of all. She's not even afraid of anything. With all the news you hear about Nigeria, she's not even afraid that, oh, maybe someone just kidnapped me or something. You didn't even care. You wanted to go to the ATM to get money by yourself. I was like, who does that? I was even afraid for you. And you were just willing to just go to an ATM. I'm like, okay, how do you don't have a phone? You said, oh, I'll get someone, I'll use someone's phone. I'm like, oh my God, don't you think we're so kind like that? Okay. I'm thinking, I said, even me as a Nigerian, I don't ask someone for someone's phone, but you were just very open. And so I said, whoa, that in itself, I was much respect. Like, oh my God, I'm meeting someone that doesn't even care that much. She's just herself. I want to go to the ATM if I need to make a call. I'll just tell someone to, please, can I
That
use your
white girl's an
phone?
idiot. That's what you were thinking, huh?
Honestly, I was afraid for you that day. And when I woke up that morning, my plan was I'll first look out for you, whether you're in the hall, to be sure that you were safe last night and you came this
Oh,
morning.
you're
And the
so
next morning I looked and I saw you. I'm like, okay, now I can rest. Because I was afraid. I was afraid, really. I'm like, okay.
well.
Ooh,
That
man,
is the
I
funny
like
thing
that.
about how we're raised. And so that's why I had all these questions about what it's like being raised in Nigeria with the difficulties, because
Mm,
I was raised without very many difficulties, and we don't lock our doors. Here we have safety
mm,
in small town Canada. If
right.
and that safety and that trust in humans has never failed me.
Oh,
Even when I get robbed,
mm,
I just
mm,
brush it off and say, well, that never happens. So there
wow.
there is some kind of beauty in naiveness as
Yeah.
well.
I think that's a good thing. I learned a lot from that. And this last trip, we went by road. We traveled that long distance. I usually don't even travel by road, I fly. But it was a whole family going. And we checked the flights. The cost was really it was skyrocket. It was really bad. And my husband was like, you know what, we could save up to 70% or even 80 if you
Uh,
just go by road. If you are willing. I was the one that would say I'm willing or not because I like to fly. And I felt, okay, let's do that. And so we chartered a vehicle, and that was easier. I even went with my nieces. So that was really easier for us. Coming back, we also chartered another vehicle that picked us at home and brought us here all the way to our house in Abuja. So we were able to get something also more convenient. Anyway, but 80% savings, that was a lot. We went for my father's 80th birthday and we had to spend a lot of money. So you can imagine I had extra to now spend at the birthday, okay, because I was able to save. But the thing is, someone was saying, "Oh, Titi, with all this insecurity, are you sure you?" I said, "Man, leave that insecurity. We're heading home and we'll get home. We'll get home safely. We'll return. We return back at a point where, there's been demonstrations in the country. But we came this week Sunday. Somebody even said, "Are you sure the roads will be okay?" I said, "Well, let's go. Let's go." I'm learning something from Jessica, fearlessness. Let's move.
Fearlessness. The last
And we
word
got
is
home
a dead
safely.
person. I was fearless, and then
I love that, honestly. And in fact, we had an end of year ceremony party. My dad has a big school in Ibadan. We had an end of year ceremony. That was within the period when the demonstrations were happening. But then Ibadan was safe because we didn't hear anything. We almost canceled the party. Then my brother came up and said, "Dad, I don't think we should because I feel that we're safe here." My dad took it with okay, let's see. Nothing happened. We did the party. It was the best party ever. We were fine. It was when we're done. My dad said, "Wow, we almost canceled this thing." But see, now we had a very beautiful party. Everywhere is quiet. Everywhere is safe. I said that, you see, that's part of the risk in life. Sometimes we just cancel things or needless things. We shouldn't cancel. We would have canceled it because we're afraid of something we have not even seen, And I see that's how human beings also relate to, "Oh, no, I'm not going to do this." But everybody travels these roads every day. There's some people that have to travel on these roads every day, and they do that every day. So for us, we're like, no, it's insecure. Somebody's gonna, but you see, fearless. That word is fearless. I saw that in you, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Here because of some of the things that happen around here, though, everybody's a suspect. So when you see someone that is not looking like you can begin to suspect them, or maybe this person could rob me. So we are that way. We lock our doors very tightly. Oh my God, my mother-in-law has like 10 padlocks on a single gate. I'm like, "Ma, are we in a war zone?" There was even a day my husband told her, "Mommy, you know what? If anything should happen, and before I can finish opening all these padlocks,
oh, there's no fire.
the way you locked us in, it's too much." She said, "Just leave me like that." She said, "Leave me. That's why I want to lock my gates." So we're like that. We lock every door. Oh my God, we lock everything. And I noticed when I was in the US, of course, doors are always open. I was like, "Oh my God." I found that very, I was looking for a way to lock the keys. But really, it wasn't like that. I'm like, "Oh my God." So at night, the first night, I was like, okay, I hope nobody walks into my room. But later I got to realize that, that's the way doors are open. Nobody fears much. But it is what it is. I guess every climb has their own lifestyle that's been built based on what they've been open to over the years. And there's still a lot of crime and all of that around here anyway, but also we have to be careful. So we're just overly careful sometimes.
Maybe not overly, maybe the necessary.
Yes.
Well, my girl, that was great and entertaining and really cool for me to understand that it's a decision to find key verb, the dance within ourselves in the difficult moments, and to not let the fear stop us from doing something, and to decide to take those down moments when things aren't working well. Do a crossword, meditate, laugh with your kids. I need kids now. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Jessica, has been great speaking with you, honestly, and I'm even energized more again.
Great. What are we going to do with our energy?
Well, I'll go and eat a wall.
Abuja. I have been listening. For those of you who are watching, if you're still with us, there was the theme song by Papa. What's his last name?
Yes, Papa Arcust.
Papa Arcust. Most beautiful song, Abuja.
Hey, Abuja.
And I have been listening to that song for 2 months, almost daily.
Oh my God.
So in love with that song. And I guess, of course, it triggers great memories. But when I'm feeling a little bit sad, I listen to it. And I don't know, things change us, meaning people change us. That's why the world becomes a better place when we travel and we mix and we become more diverse. If everyone just stayed where they were,
No,
Well, that's
no.
supposed to be
We need the
forever.
exposure. We do
We need
need it.
exposure. Exposure therapy and
Yeah.
exposure therapy with music and great food and wonderful
Mm,
smiles is
absolutely.
highly recommended. So,
Oh yes, I do. I do too. Excellent.
okay.
I'll
Well,
be
I'm
in
going to be
Ethiopia
back
at the end of the
in
month, and I'm looking forward to meeting new people in Ethiopia. I have a few days there.
Ethiopia.
So yes, yes, yes.
Ooh, wow. Far away.
I look forward to that.
Great. Okay, my lady. We'll talk
Yes.
soon.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Love you.
Bye.
Bye bye.